Well, good evening, and we continue with breaking news out of North Portland, where police say they are dealing with shots fired, a suspect with a gun, and neighbors being told not to go outside. Within the last 15 minutes or so, a fire has also sparked in a building that is now surrounded.
Let's go right out to Catherine Cook. She's standing by live for us. Catherine, this is a quickly developing situation. What can you tell us about what's happening there?
Laurel, this has certainly escalated quickly. As you can see behind my right shoulder, the shrunk Riverview Tower is on fire. That apartment is where the activity has centered around over the last 2 or 3 hours. We're told this all started with shots fired in the neighborhood. We want to show you some video from just a few minutes ago of firefighters responding to the fire. Fortunately, their station is literally 1 block away from this building. I watched as firefighters appeared to put on some sort of a tactical vest before heading in. Again, this started with reports of shots fired from that apartment. No word on whether anyone was injured, but police immediately deployed tactical units. We watched as robots responded. They put up drones to see if they could get a better look. And I actually saw the suspect appear on the balcony about an hour. He appeared to drop something out the window, a paper of some sort. And then again, Laurel and David, very quickly after that, it appeared that somebody, likely the suspect, set the apartment on fire, and the fire has grown rapidly. I spoke with someone and asked if the apartment building has been evacuated. He said he believes so. They're starting to. And at this point, though, again, no word on whether or not the suspect has been taken into custody, but it is certainly a very rapidly deteriorating situation. I'm watching now as another fire truck is responding to the scene. Again, the fire station is right next door to us, but they're bringing in more crews from other fire stations. This is an apartment building, 11 stories tall. Again, it's the shrunk Riverview Tower. No idea about how many people were inside or if they've been evacuated, but certainly a scary situation. We'll send it back to you, David and Laurel.
Yeah, Catherine, a quick question for you here. 11 stories here, and looking a little bit at this building, it looks like it's home to seniors and people living with disabilities, 100+ units there. Just in some of the video you were playing for us, we could see somebody on a balcony a few units down and over from the fire. Are you seeing people on balconies calling for help? Are you seeing an active fire response outside the building trying to get people out of there? What's it looking like?
Right. No, well, unfortunately, David, we can't get close enough to the building to see if people are being evacuated or not. It's been cordoned off because, again, this was an active shooter situation. So what I'm seeing from the face of the building we're looking at here, nobody else out on the balconies. And again, just firefighters in this area trying to get in to see what they can do to put out the fire clearly. It looks like they have made some headway in there. In fact, yeah, you can see if you, I don't know if we can zoom in or not, but firefighters are out there on the balcony now. It looks like they have put out the fire. That's good news. But again, no word on where the suspect is or any conditions of that person or any other injuries in the building. But I would certainly hope that if anybody was in the building that they had been evacuated, though if they were, we would not be able to see them on the street because these streets in the neighborhood are taped off by police, David.
Well, it is a relief to see that those fires, the flames have been extinguished there, to see the white smoke instead. I know you'll keep us updated, Catherine, on a dramatic and a fluid situation there. We'll check back with Catherine later. Yeah. And let's talk about Portland police. We have an update tonight on the decade-long debate over body cameras. And
while the city and police union agree officers should wear them when it comes to how they use that video, they are still at odds. Mike Benner's in the newsroom tonight. Mike, we knew the city and union were at some sort of critical impasse here, and now we've got the details.
Yeah, we do, David. The union wants officers to be able to review the video before writing reports and being interviewed by supervisors. And that's for all incidents, even deadly force incidents. The city, however, says no to that. They say officers can only review video ahead of reports and interviews for non-deadly force incidents. Regardless, until both sides come to an agreement, Portland remains the largest city in the U.S. where its police force is not wearing body cams.
The conversation has become frustrating.
Sergeant Aaron Schmautz is the president of the Portland Police Association. He says when it comes to body-worn cameras, the union and the city of Portland agree on just about every aspect of the program. But he says the two sides disagree on the reviewing of recorded video.
My concern is that the dialogue has become very strange.
Schmautz says the union wants officers to be able to review video before writing a report or being interviewed by a superior after all incidents, even deadly force incidents.
We just want to get it right. We want to make sure our officers know what questions they need to answer, that they're able to take all the available evidence and provide a comprehensive kind of package of information and give that to the public, so we have just one good, clean explanation of what happened.
The city, however, thinks an officer's right to review video stops at deadly force incidents, and the city of Portland is not alone in that belief. Salem PD just launched its body camera program this week. And as Chief Trevor Womack explained on Thursday's edition of The Story, Salem officers can look at body cam video after all incidents except deadly force incidents.
We don't investigate ourselves, of course. We have a process here where an outside agency conducts that investigation. They would be in charge of that investigative process, and our district attorney as well. And their position is that officers would not view that video before that interview occurs, for example.
The ACLU agrees. It argues that allowing an officer to view video of a deadly force incident before their interview could encourage the officer to lie. For instance, if an officer watches video beforehand, they would then know before the interview what was and wasn't captured on camera. Sergeant Aaron Schmautz, however, doesn't see it that way.
If you take somebody who's been involved in a critical incident, who's been involved in this very stressful kind of high temperature deal, and then immediately ask them to just kind of spit out what happened without collecting all evidence, you run into significant issues.
All right, with the city of Portland and the police union at an impasse, an arbitrator now steps in to settle the dispute, and this part of the process could take months. We'll, of course, stay on top of it. In the meantime, we can tell you the Vancouver Police Department will be rolling out its body cam program next week. David?
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that update. Well, classes were canceled today at Tigard High School because of a shooting threat. Police eventually determined, they say, that the threat was not credible. Authorities say, though, an anonymous tip came into Safe Oregon last night. That is the program created for anyone to report and respond to student safety threats. Now, police say the tip was along the lines of someone hearing there was, quote, going to be a school shooting tomorrow, end quote. Now, police add they are looking into whether the threat could be connected to a fight on Thursday at the school. At this point, they say they have identified the students involved in that fight.
The state of Montana, along with several fossil fuel industry groups, is suing the city of Portland. The federal lawsuit takes aim at some of the city's policies that limit the storage and transport of oil and gas. Our environmental reporter Cale Williams joins us now with the details. Cale?
Well, this isn't the first time Portland's been sued over this policy, but it is the first time the city has been sued in federal court. In 2016, the city banned new development and expansion of fossil fuel facilities that handle more than 2 million gallons. And that's important because with a deep water port, multiple rail lines, and access to oil and gas pipelines, Portland is a major international shipping hub. But the code amendment provided exceptions for local use, like fuel for the Portland airport and other businesses. And that's the crux of the lawsuit. It alleges that because Portland allows local use of those facilities, it's discriminating against out-of-state companies, which would be a violation of the Commerce Clause of the Constitution. But Nick Caleb, an attorney with Breach Collective, which is an environmental justice advocacy group, had a much different take on the lawsuit.
The kind of straightforward argument they're making is that their ability to earn profits via risky transport and storage of hazardous materials in Portland trumps the right of Portlanders to be safe from massive industrial disasters.
Now, most of the liquid fuel stored in Oregon is on the banks of the Willamette River in hundreds of large tanks. And Caleb said the policy ensures no new storage facilities would be built in that area, which is prone to liquefaction in the event of a large earthquake. But the lawsuit says the policies have the reverse of their intended effect, essentially prohibiting oil companies from building new, safer storage facilities. And the lawsuit calls for a judge to nullify the existing policies and impose a permanent injunction to prevent the city from doing anything similar in the future. And unless the parties reach a settlement, the case could be headed for trial in the coming months. David, Laurel.
Thank you, Cale.